It's pretty much a general consensus at this point that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of the best games ever made. This game will keep you entertained for hours and hours and hours. It will give you very, very rich, deep storytelling. It'll give you enjoyable, skill-based combat, and a blowjob. Now, I'm not going to sit here and review the game. That would take incredible amounts of time, and way more talented people have done way better jobs at reviewing this than I probably ever could at this point. I'm not going to do something dumb like give it a 1 to 10 rating, and I'm not going to do some retarded letter grade like an A or F minus. What sort of idiot would do that? Anyway, as good as this game is, there is a few things I don't like about it, but there's really one thing in particular. So now that all the praise for this fantastic piece of art is out of the way, it's time to move on to the bitchin'. The thing that bothered me more than anything else during The Witcher 3 was the implementation of level scaling, or to be more precise, the lack of level scaling. And normally, I think this is a refreshing change of pace. I like it that when I'm going through the world as I'm walking across Velen or White Orchard or Skellige or wherever, I come across a troll or an ogre or an elemental that's way, way, way tougher than I am, and I have to come back later and kill him. His level will stay the same. He will always be the same toughness. It's up to me to get tougher and stronger and then come back to that fight when I'm prepared and when I'm ready for it. That much I like. However, what I did not like about this lack of a leveling system or level scaling system is how quickly Geralt of Rivia became an absolute beast and who was unstoppable. Now, if you go into this game like I did, then you will want to do all the things. You will want to explore. You will want to look for every monster nest and every little hidden treasure. You want to find all the little knickknacks and doodads scattered across the countryside. You want to do all the missions, all the contracts. You really want to soak yourself in this immersive world, and as a result, you want to do all the things. But if you do all the things, then quickly, old Gwynblade there is going to get so powerful that a lot of your journey is going to be spent fighting enemies who are so low-leveled that they do not stand a snowball's chance in hell against you. There were so many times when I was fighting enemies, especially things like bandits and stuff like that, who were so low-level beneath me, they would be 20-plus levels beneath me. And that was really kind of not fun, because when they would hit me, the message would say, you know, such and such, Geralt was hit was whatever, 0 damage. I took 0 damage from their hits. You know, I didn't even have to block. I could just power through their hits. I could just steamroll through these guys because they did not have a chance. And that wasn't fun. That wasn't challenging. That wasn't engaging. It didn't make me feel like I was, you know, accomplishing something. It's not like I was fighting an archgriffin or a wyvern or something like that, and I had to really kind of, you know, focus and learn his moves and develop a strategy. No, I could just blow through him. And that just wasn't fun. So even though I do like the fact that some enemies are tougher than you, and you have to come back later and beat them, I would like to see a system in whatever CD Projekt Red's next game is, and I fucking hope they make another game, right? I hope that what they do is they implement a level scaling system that doesn't stop with enemies that are above you, but a level scaling system that keeps enemies that are below your level at least somewhat, gives them somewhat of a chance. Like this Cyclops I just killed here. He was level 19, and I'm level 31. He doesn't have a chance. He does not have a chance. He's 12 levels below me. He's gonna get destroyed, right? I think that there should be some system to keep enemies at least in the realm of having a fighting chance. If I'm level 31, this guy should be 26. No lower than 26. That way, at least I get things like experience for it. At least I get some sort of a challenge. Because fighting a Cyclops like that, you would think that that's kind of a big deal. But really, nah, your level's too high, his level's too low. It's all about numbers. And his numbers just aren't as good as your numbers. Questing is more adversely affected by the lack of level scaling than combat is. If you want to go through the game and do all the missions and all the quests and all the contracts, then quickly you'll find yourself at a higher level than many of the quests that you could have possibly undertaken want you to be at. There's so many things to do that if you do them, you will quickly find that Geralt of Rivia is going to breeze through half the missions in the game because he's over-leveled for them. And these levels, recommendations, these missions, they won't scale in difficulty based on how hard the game wants it to be, or it's not going to scale it based on what your level is to keep it challenging. So many missions in the game will be so low, so beneath your level, literally, that you'll be getting, 20, 30, 40, 50 orans in a single experience point for completing them. And some of these missions are not just go here, kill this, come back. Some of them can be fairly in-depth and time-consuming. So if you go to Skellige and you see Björgen Sjurgenflorg, who's missing his family horn, and you want to go find that shit, you're going to have to go to this end of Skellige, to that end of Skellige, to up to down to underground, all around, everywhere, looking for this damn horn for this guy. So when you finally do get back to Fjörgen Zahurgen Flurgenschnurg, and you get him back his family horn, he's going to say, oh, thanks, here's 60 coins and an experience point. And that sucks. It really does. Because it takes a lot of time to do some of these missions. And yeah, you'll see things and do things along the way, but a single experience point when it takes 1,500, 2,000 experience to level up, that's nothing. That's negligible. And I wish that levels would scale just like enemies and monsters would in the game, where even though you are at a high level, the level of the experience, the quest would be at a certain minimum level. So if I'm level 30, that quest should scale up so that it at least is relevant to me. So before I progress further in the story, I want to go back to Skellige and look for all the little knickknacks and doodads, which is, that's its own game right there. And I find bandits by the coast, and they got someone in a cage, and I want to save them. So I go down there, and I'm ready to fight them, and it's going to be, a tooth and nail struggle, and I'm going to, fight them all off, and use all my skill and tactics, and have good positioning, and use my signs right. Nah. No, I see the 12 on their heads, and I'm like, oh, these guys are 19 levels beneath me. This is going to be a massacre. And sure enough, you get rid of the annoying archers in the back, and it's just that. It's a massacre. They don't stand a chance. And I know that going in, and I know I don't have to worry about healing myself. I don't have to worry about really being as super strategic as I can. I don't have to worry about pacing myself. I just kind of mow through them like a hot knife through butter. I just stab them in the face with the pointy end of my sword, and that's that. And that's kind of a shame. Because I got into this game with The Witcher 2, and The Witcher 2 was more challenging because you didn't have as easy access to healing in battle. When the battle started, you couldn't heal yourself. If you took damage, then that health's gone, buddy. You can't get that health back. At least not nearly to the degree you can in Witcher 3. So every fight it had a lot more weight to it, because the thought of failure was a real idea. You could fail. You could lose. But in The Witcher 3, there's so many fights that are just like, okay, let's kill these guys and move on. It doesn't have any weight to it. I don't have that sense of, dread or fear that I might actually, die and have to try the fight again or learn from my mistakes. Now, here is a good example of how if enemies are not scaled up to where they're a challenge for you, at least a resistance to you, it could really ruin the immersion of the game. This is a wyvern. It's supposed to be a big, fierce monster with big fangs and sharp claws, and it flies around, and it's just generally very nasty of a creature. And peasants are terrified of it, and they pay you to get rid of these monsters. But I just walk up to it, and he's dead in seconds. It doesn't even attack me. He tries to flee, and I shoot him out of the air. Bam. This battle is done in seconds, and it's not even a battle. It's just me walloping on this supposedly ferocious beast, and that's not fun. It pulls you out of the immersion that these are deadly monsters that need to be slain, and that not everybody has the skills to deal with this type of threat. In another part of Skellige, shortly afterwards, I come across a monster den. And I don't know what's inside, but I look inside and I see the shadow of a necker in a distance, so I put on my oil, not that I'll need it, and I go inside looking for a fight. Alright? But quickly, I see the number 6 appear over their heads, and as a level 31 Witcher, my heart sinks. I know this is gonna be a very one-sided affair, but I let him wallop on me with claws, and I let him hit me and 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 hit me, just to see how much damage it actually does. And these fierce monsters that are feared by the peasantry, that can kill soldiers, that can ravage war-torn regions of the world, these fearsome beasts they're gone in one spell. One spell and they're all on the ground. They're basically dead. So it's not just a matter of challenging combat, which this is not at all challenging combat, by the way. I could let them hit me for a day, and they'd probably whittle me down halfway. but it's a matter of immersion. It really draws you out of the wonderful world that they have created here, because you can let these monsters just wallop on you for ages and you get no adverse effects from that. So I hope that CD Projekt Red in their next game, and the years it'll take to make them, that they really pay more attention to level scaling on the bottom side. It's good to run into enemies that you'll have to come back later and beat, but there's so much content in the game that I can't get around to fighting everything when it's level appropriate. I hope they scale up those weaker monsters and weaker, easier missions and make them tougher and more challenging for people so that we have an actual reason to complete them, so that they're challenging and we can earn a worthwhile reward.